So again, our two guests and topics are how to generate listings through marketing your property with Debbi DiMaggio, real estate and marketing maven slash diva slash entrepreneur slash app creator slash everything else under the sun. And then we also have Debbi, or Debbi Cetina, right? Yep. And he's going to talk to us about untethering, which is a very cool word, how we can be more mobile in how we do our business. It's interesting as we look at how to reshape residential real estate, how the office space is becoming a really different thing and requirement in residential real estate. So Debbi's going to enlighten us with a lot of tips, tricks, and techniques to get more efficient as we work mobily. So let's dive right in. I'm super excited to have Debbi here because she's first of all, she's awesome. Second of all, my 15-month-old daughter loves her book and says pool incessantly 100 million times. And before the show started, Cathy was mentioning that my daughter was going to think that these were normal pools. So now I'm ruined. Apparently, I've got to go make a couple $100 million. So this better be a great radio show. Debbi, you really, before we get started, you really have a marketeer's mind. And brand is something that, a lot of people talk about brand, but you really live and breathe brand. And I know that that's going to come through in the dialogue that we're going to have this morning. But will you just give some context to where that sort of, and this is totally off script, but where that comes from for you? Like, where does that sort of innate inner drive come around marketing and brand and look and feel and all of those components?
Hi, Keith.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Glad to be back. I don't know where it comes from.
Okay, good answer.
I was a political science major at Cal Berkeley.
Tons of branding in that.
I just love it. When I love something, I just learn everything there is to know about it. Mm-hmm. And I think it really stemmed from taking over the Highland Partners office mm-hmm. with Adam and Heidi. I knew that I had to do everything. We had to do everything we could, and I felt like there was so much out there with the internet and marketing and social media that I had to learn everything in order to take a company from 0 to 100.
Right.
And so I just immersed myself 24 hours a day, pretty much.
Yeah, there's a great Steve Jobs video that I've played for the leaders in the company a couple different times. Really talks about passion and how if you're passionate about something, you won't quit when most normal, sane human beings will.
Exactly.
Right? And did I just call you crazy? I didn't mean to call you crazy.
Adam calls me crazy every day.
That's totally different, though. He gets to. I don't. So,
yes.
So that passion that you have around something will really carry you further than where most people will quit.
100%. You have to be passionate, else it's not going to work, and it won't propel you and keep you into it. And
right.
So, hugely passionate about it. Just really want to know what I have to do to and just learning, sucking up information from everywhere and, looking everywhere and seeing what other people are doing and then transforming that from whether it's a cupcake shop or another real estate office and, somewhere else.
Uh-huh.
I took a lot of branding from the Hamptons in New York mm-hmm. and New York and Beverly Hills. And, you kind of find things that you want
that resonate
with you personally
mm-hmm.
and then try to put that into your business and your marketing. So find something that you love mm-hmm. that really resonates with you, and then turn it in
and make it your own,
mm-hmm. and then go from there, and then just start making lists of everything. And so funny, the last week when you asked me to do the show,
yep.
Cathy said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I actually have something specific, marketing properties. I said, we've had 2 really difficult listings. In this market, Adam and I have sold a number of houses, but these 2 houses have not sold for whatever reason.
Right.
So I had already made lists for the clients so they can see that, these are all the things that we've been doing.
Right.
And so it was a really great list that I put together, and I thought, well, this should go into the show so everyone else can learn from it.
By the way, in the radio business, we call that a tease. She has just tempted you with what you're going to learn.
And that was totally by accident.
Yeah, she's a natural, ladies and gentlemen. Brace yourself. You will end up buying Contain Beauty by the end of this. All right. So do you market every property the same regardless of price?
Yes, that is one thing that I do teach my agents. It doesn't matter if your property is $300,000, $600,000, or $7 million. the reason why you market it the same and you do a brochure, you do a website, you do everything is because the next, a buyer's looking at it, they might hire you because they like what you do. A seller's certainly looking at what you're doing. And if you market it at a $300,000 property and they have $1 million property, they're going to see, look at that person. They're really taking the time and they care that they're marketing that property. They're going to do this to mine, and they might have even more things they can do for mine because it's higher. So people are watching. Agents are watching the quality of who you are and what you produce.
People are always watching.
They're always watching.
And for you, that's really, in essence, part of your offering, right? Your marketing is one of the value props, one of the differentiators. So if I were to say, why should I pick Debbie and Adam, a piece of that is the marketing.
It's the marketing.
And so
agents do not do half the things that I do, and I'm sure that I'm sure they're not spending the time that I do because I'm crazy and I do spend a ton of time.
Again,
because it's very natural and easy for me.
Just saying that's the second time crazy's come up. I'm not counting or anything, but someone put that on the whiteboard. That's two. All right. So since you do it for everyone, regardless of price, what is the marketing plan that you use?
All right. The first thing I use, and that all Better Homes and Gardens has a discount with, is Tour Factory.
Okay.
It's nice because you can have a monthly subscription. There is a discount code. I'm sure Cathy and Keith can share with you.
Sure.
It has all your listings under one roof, and so there is a link that you can use for all your listings.
And this is just but this is a virtual tour.
Photo tour, yeah. Property photo tour. It's very easy to upload, and you buy you buy a property link for the property, like HillerHighlandsViews.com or 25 Captain's Cove.
Okay.
I always try to keep it succinct and have all my properties just be the address, like 400 Gravatt, 1117portal.com. So advertising can pick it up easy, and it's easy to find.
So you create because there was a lot in there.
Yeah.
So number one, there's a virtual tour for every property.
Yep.
And you use what product?
Tour Factory.
Tour Factory.
Yep.
We'll send everyone who's on the show today. We'll send you a link to Tour Factory so you can get right to it.
Every home needs professional photographs.
That was a question from the audience that just
came. It has to be professional. Do not go and try to snap yourself. It needs to be professional. Again, you're not only using those photos for that property, but if you want a pretty photograph, if you're doing a listing presentation and you want to put in a living room or a dining room or an orchid, a picture of an orchid, beautiful lifestyle images, you can also use those for social media. There's a number of ways. You need to have a whole photo library that you can reach to, and you are targeting, when you're doing listing presentations, different price ranges. So you can't put a $7 million house in a listing presentation for a $300,000 house. So you really need to start the photo library. And I can't emphasize enough, you've got to have a photograph.
Yeah.
You just have to.
A couple things on that. Number one, if you think you're a professional photographer, you're probably not. Okay, I love you dearly. You're probably you are a professional realtor, but you're probably not a professional photographer. If you think you are, I want you to do this exercise. Do this exercise for me. Send your photos to Debbie, and she'll help you determine whether or not you are a professional photographer. Here's one other exercise I've done with agents in the past. I've had them take their own pictures, and you may have a nice camera, and you could be a hobbyist thing for you, and there's nothing wrong with that. Go get joy from it. But go take the best pictures you can, and then hire the best photographer you can find, and have them take the pictures and truly look at their pictures compared to yours. If you feel like in your honest, truthful place they're comparable, keep doing what you're doing. Go nuts, go crazy. You might be a professional photographer, but odds are you're a professional realtor, not a professional photographer.
Exactly. And the hardest thing is to get a photograph level. When you snap I notice that. I have a good camera and I try to do it, but it's hard to make it the horizon level, and then it's bad, and if you don't have the lighting, and I'm sure you don't have the lighting with your nice camera,
right?
It makes a huge difference.
It does matter. Trust me, if you do that exercise where you take your own and you hire someone to take some, you will not take your own anymore. That's just my opinion as someone who has personally had that experience. All right, so we've got a lot of content coming at everybody, and we may pick this back up later, but professional photographer, a website for every property.
So now you have those photographs. So
right.
Now you take those photographs, and they're going to be uploaded onto the MLS. They're going to be shot out to every other real estate company, anyone who subscribes to the MLS, and then sites that your clients love that I don't like, Redfin, Zillow, Trulia. So they will be shot out to all of these many sites. So what you've got to have really nice photos because it's going to be plastered everywhere. And then you take those, so also back up to Tour Factory. The reason why Tour Factory makes this so easy for you, even if you aren't working around the clock, when you upload your photographs to Tour Factory, you create your property tour. On the right-hand side, there are just a quick little button for Pinterest, Twitter, Google+.
It's fully social. Basically, you can push
Facebook,
it out.
You push it out, it goes to all of those sites, and then you can say, take a look at my new listing or open Sunday, whatever you want to say to it. But it's very easy to push it out from there. I even go a step further. I take those same photos, I go to my business page on Facebook, and then I upload an album and create an album for that listing. It's also a place where I can always go back and find a photo if I need it because it's right there on Facebook.
Okay. A lot. Who are you trying to reach when you do this marketing plan?
Everyone.
But
with online, it is people who are connected online. Then you still have to do print media for the older people who are not on social media.
The old school.
I want to go back to the social media with Pinterest. This is a new one. Everyone wants to do a little bit and
Pinterest.
Baby steps. Some people don't want to use Facebook. Some people are reluctant to Twitter. I sit with people and they argue with me all the time. But I have on my Pinterest, I have Luxury Homes by Debbi and Adam. I have a Pinterest board.
See, I knew that. Go me.
And the reason why Pinterest is so important these days, why do I have to do Pinterest if I do this? Because every audience is different.
You know the largest audience on Pinterest?
No.
Women. Average time on Pinterest? 1.3 hours per session.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yep.
It's visual. It's beautiful. You get on it and you're just, on it. So with that, I've got so many people repinning stuff that I pin, and you have to remember to put a bio up there or something about you and a contact. You're a real estate agent. You need to have your contact information or email or website, so they repin something and then they see who you are and they know you're a realtor, and then it's just one more way to get yourself out there.
Good. All right, and we actually have a whole social. We're going to go over each one of your social preferences in just a second. So I love just listed open house postcards. Now that's old school. I like that. That's not pinning anything. Tell me how you use them, if you use them. Obviously, these are some examples of your professional photography, and a beautiful listing, by the way.
So this house, this was the one that was not selling. It took over a month to sell. Beautiful home.
By the way, I love that we're now at where it takes over a month. That means not selling. God, thank you, real estate gods. Thank you. All right, keep going.
And thank God we're in contract today.
Yahoo! Congratulations.
Thank you. And this house is a beautiful house in Crocker Highlands, and we didn't do a just listed postcard earlier on, so it had been on the market, so we wanted to continue to try everything, and so we did a by appointment with the website, and we put it out there, and we mailed around the Crocker Highlands,
like 100 homes or
250 homes, just to get it out there, and neighbors will, the sellers like to know, people in the neighborhood who might be sellers, they want to know what's going on in the marketplace, and hopefully they have friends that they might share with. So that's 250 around the home itself. You could also plan ahead and schedule it where you do an open Sunday and invite people. That's also really good.
Yeah.
But I will say that people, and a lot of times older people, they will put that postcard in their drawer.
Yep.
And I had an appointment the other day, a listing in Piedmont. The lady came in with a postcard in her hand, and she never said anything about it, but she had that postcard in her hand of a house that we sold down the street, but she was holding on to that card.
Clutching it. Quick tip I used to do whenever I send out a just listed postcard, I would always advertise a neighbors only open house time slot for an hour prior to the advertised start time. So if I normally did an open house from 2 to 4, I would in the mailer, in the postcard, I'd put neighbors only 1 to 2.
Yep.
And then I started offering them a quick informational packet where I would just pull the last 20 or 30 solds or whatever was appropriate.
That's awesome.
And, bring the card to get your information packet.
Oh, nice.
And so I would get 10 or 15 neighbors through. They would bring the little card, just like it was always the 75-year-old lady who was going on for a Sunday walk who would bring her little card, so excited to get her information packet. But it's a great way to identify at the open house who's a buyer, who's a seller lead right away.
And you have to this is kind of going back to basics because we're so busy and the market's moving so fast. You're trying to get the house painted and staged. You don't have time to do this.
Yep.
So, we had the time in this one, so we did it. But it should be part of your everyday marketing. And I've personally got to go back to that too because it is important. It's all important.
One more just listed tip. If it's properly priced, you believe it's going to sell right away, or if you're sending a just sold card, unless it's in your geographic farm or an area where you're going after a lot of business, I personally think you actually get more value sending the just sold card to your sphere of influence than you get from sending it to the neighbors, unless it's an area that you're consistently and persistently farming.
Right.
Then definitely send it to your farm. Yeah. But the people who already know you, trust you, and love you always get excited to see that you have sold another property as opposed to, oh, yeah, good. Renters, future buyers, and neighbors right there on the screen.
Yeah.
Good. Quarterly update.
Quarterly update. So a lot of times I'll sit with other agents in the office and who want to do some more marketing and branding. And so I sat with Rosie. She's one of our agents, great agents. She does a quarterly newsletter. So she's helped me. She helped lay this out for me, and it's really great. So my goal is now, you have to start with baby steps.
Yes.
I try to give people time to get something done, but a deadline. And so now I started this quarterly report 4 times a year. This is my Piedmont area, Piedmont farm, and so just, first quarter sales. And then I always kind of I created something called the Piedmont Business Network.
Yes.
And so I announced that. Sometimes I'll talk about a charity, and then just a little bit of information about the market. And then I try to make it lifestyle and pretty, and on the front, this is the back side.
Information side.
On the front side, it's an orchid and just a pretty picture, and I made it in a hard copy so someone might want to keep it because it's not flimsy, and it's in an envelope, 8.5 by 11 flat envelope, so it is something that's quality that they may pin up because it's pretty. Because the flip side is a picture of an orchid.
So you use higher cardstock,
yes.
Send it flat,
yep,
and try to put something pretty on the front.
Yep.
Got it. Okay, good. Those are all great tips. And this goes to your sphere of influence, geographical farm, both, anyone under the sun.
It goes to present and past clients, and it goes to, that was specifically my Piedmont farm.
Okay,
yeah.
So then that's sphere of influence and farm.
Right.
Okay, good. Professional flyers from print shop. Walk me through this.
So we have flyers in the house, and sometimes I do a 4-page brochure in the house. On the exterior of the home, in the brochure box, we like to have still a professional. You can do a print shop has a thinner paper, not as expensive hardstock, but I want that in the brochure box outside, not an MLS flyer. We have a rule at Highland Partners, no MLS's flyers in the brochure box, but a nice quality brochure, because again, the people picking these up are either it's going to be a buyer or a potential seller, and an MLS sheet just looks bad.
Okay. 8 by 8 property brochure on print shop. So tell me just a little bit, and I like you see the tea kettle in the lower left. I mean, just ways that you're positioning lifestyle and property at the same time, right?
Correct. And and then when I made my highlights here, I talked about the glass backsplash,
which is caught in the shot.
Exactly. Yeah. So just kind of lifestyle.
Now, do you go with the photographer and say, make sure you get this shot? I mean,
I do. Well, my photographer
Shocker,
and
you control everything.
Yeah, I kind of art direct. I fired a photographer because he didn't listen to me.
This is my surprise face.
A picture of like this cool, like it looked like an alien plant, and I couldn't be there because I was doing a charity event. And I said, please just get this please just get this one shot. That's all I ask. He hated being art directed by me. And I said, please, can you just do this? And he didn't do it. And I was just through the roof.
That was his last day on the planet Earth.
So my photographer I work with right now is awesome. She knows what I want. You know, on my Facebook business page, you'll see it's a very cool, you know, sometimes it's a stack of books. It could be a tea kettle. It could be an orchid close-up. It could be lavender from the outside. But usually my timeline page is going to be something very interesting and lifestyle, not a picture of a house or a living room.
So how templatized, and I think I know the answer to this, but I just want to make sure, is it always the lifestyle shot on the back flap?
Oh, no. I spend hours
obsessing and tweaking.
And moving them around. And to do a brochure with this many photos, that really makes you crazy. But,
okay. Now,
crazy.
How do you handle... how do you handle the, a client doesn't want a stage, maybe it's not a beautiful, elegant home like the one that's...
this is actually not staged.
Well, but it might as well be.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
How do you, well, let me say it
this was lucky.
If you were listing my house, what would you do? Because it's, there's baby toys everywhere and,
oh, no.
Oh, no, that's all got to go?
No, the last one you saw in Portal, that was very lived in with kids, and we convince them to move out or to stay with family or friends. The home has to be painted, and if the outside needs painting, or at least the trim and the front door need painting, inside usually pretty much needs painting. The house needs to be it needs to be pretty empty. You need to get rid of what you're going to get rid of, put the rest in the garage or some in storage. It needs to be 100% staged, and if it's not, everything is on the internet throughout all of the sites we talked about. It's in a brochure. Buyers won't even come to see a house if it's not staged. They might think, what's wrong with it? Something's wrong. If they can't afford to stage, they must be desperate to sell. It sends out all these messages, and so everyone seems to do it because it takes a while to get them there, but by the time you take them to a few homes or show them online, they can see for themselves.
Here's what I want the listeners to get is Debbi is passionate about positioning the home for the marketplace. And I promise if you were her client, you would end up doing it the way she's asking you to, or you wouldn't end up her client because that's not what you're looking for an experience. But your passion around, look, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. This is going out to the entire world. You're marketing your property to all available and active buyers that are already pre-approved, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They are going to start to align. The more you have a way you do your business, and this is just how we do things when you list with me, the more the consumer will align behind that. Good question. How do you... where do you get, and I think I know the answer, but where do you get the pictures like the tea kettle, the crazy alien plant?
I find whatever's unique at the property itself. Yeah. That was there. I didn't put that there.
So you wanted a way to...
I would have taken the orchid, the close-up of the orchid.
Right.
There's books on a bookshelf in the back of the big living room
So
photo.
just so you can see, because this is radio, not TV, she's pointing at the upper right-hand side. There's an orchid on the glass living room table and a bookshelf in the background of that same shot. But
so if you go to my Debbie DiMaggio and Adam Bedham, our Facebook business page, you could see my timeline, and you'll see another really cool photograph.
Okay.
Again, all lifestyle, not a living room, not a dining room.
So when you're at the property, you're looking, again, art direction almost. You're looking for really cool shots, unique shots, and this one you wanted to highlight in the lower left-hand corner on the screen. You wanted to highlight that really cool glass backsplash that they had in the kitchen. So you put the tea kettle next to the ridiculous awesome stove with the gas splash in the background. Yeah?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay,
and outside there was beautiful wild lavender that we got some shots of, and there were other interesting pictures. And they're online on the website on 400gravat.com. You can see some of the other cool shots.
I think that the one I'm having right now is, so often we do all this work to get the listing, and we do kind of all this work to maybe get it ready. And then picture day, we sort of grab the digital camera that, with still vacation shots on it and run around, snap some pictures, and throw it on the MLS. And we think that price, if you price it right, price drives everything, da-da-da.
You're making yourself look so bad.
I know.
Don't kill me, Keith.
No, what I'm saying is that's my big aha is you put all this work in and you get to the finish line and then you walk across. And don't do that. You put in all this work and then don't quit at the finish.
Exactly.
Go ahead and continue to go the extra mile and really put some cool, interesting stuff into your marketing. In these shots, you buy these pictures, yes?
Yes.
And so you could use, for example, that tea kettle shot in anything you wanted for the rest of your life, right?
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
cool.
And you can use it for, put it, you could be your timeline on your Facebook page. It could be anywhere. It could be on your Tumblr, your...
Right, Tumblr.
We did. I will say on that photograph of the exterior of the home, I did have to call my photographer and say, you know what, I know it was a dreary day, but we need to put a little work into it. Can you make that sky blue?
Up a little bit,
It was dreary and it looks so bad. And
but don't change the house, okay?
Yeah.
So you can change the sky, but don't change the house.
Exactly. But you do have to, you have to continue to push. You do need to push your people too. So and she said, thank you for letting me know. That was really helpful. Yeah. So there is extra work sometime when you can't change Mother Nature. So
right.
Make it look good.
All right. Online exposure, MLS and top property websites updated and shared. Tell me what you do with that.
All right. So when you change, so I don't know if everyone knows this, but Cathy knows when I first started, I interrogated her up and down. So, and the poor help desk people. So when you go, you can enhance your listings. So yes, you go into the MLS, you have the confidential remarks and you have the, public remarks. So sometimes I want to kind of make changes happen and I want to make sure people are getting the information. So in the public remarks, I said the open house was on, I don't know what holiday it was the other day we had, but we switched it, maybe, I don't remember what it was, but we switched the open house from 2 to 4:30 to 12:30 to 2, Memorial Weekend or something.
Super Bowl, whatever.
Yeah, it was Memorial Weekend. So I went into the MLS in the public remarks, and because even though we had it advertised everywhere, sometimes people don't look at the time. So in every single ad, I changed, the time was 12:30 to 2, 12:30 to 2. In public remarks, it said 12:30 to 2. So in a very short time, I'd say about 20 minutes, Redfin had picked it up from the MLS, and it was showing in their public remarks, in their feed. Now, you also can go onto WebTop and go into listings, enhance your listings, and sometimes it doesn't. You can add your remarks in there. You can add bullet points, comments, and that feed will be taken from the WebTop people here at Better Homes and Gardens and be fed to SF Gate and all these other places. So it's really important to enhance your listings so the information gets out there and all the information you want gets out there as well.
Cathy, we should do a future radio show on a quick how-to, like how to enhance. All right, we'll do that in an upcoming show for you. All right, online exposure. So HillerHighlandsViews.com, which is the custom website component that you talked about.
So I'm giving you two examples here. HillerHighlandsViews.com I used a company called Open Homes Photography.
Okay.
They're really good. They do a beautiful job. I even asked him to go and do some neighborhood shots, which he did, which is really cool.
Cool.
Julie was out of town, my other photographer, so I used him, and they do a wonderful job. The one thing that I like about, and I also for the same property have 25captainscove.com, so you can see the same home, two examples. The reason why I like the Tour Factory because it's all connected and all my listings are connected, and it makes it really nice. And you can go to Pinterest and all of those other sites automatically. Then on my DiMaggioembedded.com, Adam and my personal real estate website, we add our open house schedule, all of our listings. We have resources. The other day someone wanted to know what's the calculation for the city transfer tax. I found a link somewhere and I added it to my website, so I have a lot of resources on that.
Okay. And let's dive in on social because, holy Lord.
It's much easier than it looks.
Really? Because it doesn't look easy at all.
I'm going to make I'll try to move slowly.
Okay, go slow. And use your hands because this is radio.
Exactly.
Right.
Pinterest, again, you can go through Tour Factory and then put it on your board. And don't forget, all the people who repin will see you, so make sure you have your photograph and a little information about yourself. I also want to just say on Pinterest, I also have a board called Sold. Now that you've purchased your home, how are you going to decorate it? How are you going to design it?
So it'll have just cool shots of
it could be like an inexpensive, West Elm fixture that we use a lot in our listings. It could be paint colors. It might be window coverings. It's kind of, so now I have that link on my DiMaggio and Betta website, and it's on my Pinterest board. So people are going there not just to look to buy a house, but for inspiration and ideas.
So this could cost me my man card, but I do have a Pinterest account. Yeah. Now I haven't used it yet, but I will. I'm a slow adopter when it comes to technology, but Pinterest is definitely here to stay. But if you think about Pinterest, and you tell me if I screw this up, but Pinterest really is a posting of pictures, and it could be a picture of a recipe, or it could be a picture of anything that's interesting, cool, a quote, or those sorts of things. Yes. But it's a very visual medium, yes?
Yes. Yeah. It's the old-fashioned collage that girls used to do.
I'm not making it. I didn't say that, but it does seem to be a lot more women from the research I've done.
Yeah.
And time on page is tremendously long. But if you think about residential real estate and get naughty for a second, but the voyeuristic nature of residential real estate, right?
Yep.
And how people love to see the pictures of real estate. They love the architecture. They love the aspirational approach. There's a lot of synergies between real estate and Pinterest that will attract people.
Because people have boards like architecture, design, interior design, favorite living rooms, dining rooms. It's all broken down into so many coffee tables, front doors, windows.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's all real estate. It's all home.
I'm not saying you got to rush out and get your Pinterest handle or whatever they call it.
I am.
But Debbi is, and you better do what Debbi says. Trust me. I've worked with her long enough. Just do it. All right, so Pinterest, LinkedIn, now that one I've got.
Everyone, of course, should have a LinkedIn profile, and you can add other things that you do or people you're connected with, or your college that you went to or whatever. But I also use it. I take my link from my HillerHighlandsViews.com and I pop it into the feed of LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. So that's very easy. Cut and paste, and you're done.
Yeah.
Twitter, you can do the Twitter right from Tour Factory. You can also, a lot of times I'll take a photo, and I can do this it can go to Instagram as well. I will take a photo of, the coffee table, the, book, an orchid, kind of a cool photograph, and I can Twitter it. I could Instagram it, and, populate it to other places so people can see it's open. Foursquare.
Now, do you use a syndication service that will, if you do it once, it does it to all, or do you personally manage it?
Some of them are connected, but I like to do it myself.
Yeah, shocker. You want to control it. Again, let's see. We've got 2 crazies and 4 or 5 controls. Okay. All right. Quick question from the audience. It's a good one. How do you use video? If so, how? Is that something you're exploring right now?
Actually, I forgot to go back to that, but on Tour Factory, once you syndicate, that goes to YouTube.
Oh, okay. And
so that's you
sort of use that as your video.
That's my video. Okay. And when I do a major listing, then I do hire someone professional to do it. Really, if you went to 55C View YouTube, if you Googled 55C View, 2 words, YouTube, you'll come up with the really beautiful
full-blown tour.
Yeah, gorgeous. And that was, I would definitely in the $7 million range hire someone professional to do something fabulous. And it got a lot of hits, and a lot of people from all over the world saw it. And
yeah, if you're in the 7 million range, go ahead and hire someone to shoot your video. And don't take pictures with the little Kodak Instamat. All right, now just let's pretend one last social, and then we've got to press forward, or Davey's going to have to be on next week. Let's pretend I don't have, I got a Facebook, fine. I'm on LinkedIn, but I haven't done much with it. Give me how do I get started?
All right, my first step, and I have someone working on this right now that we're supposed to meet this week, and the first step was, let's just get you on all the sites. So just do a profile.
Okay.
We'll get a login,
right.
Log in,
Get
a profile photo up there. People want to see you. They want to resonate with you. They're either going to or they're not. Your photo, your contact information. If you don't want your contact information out there, you shouldn't be a realtor. And something about you. And even if you're a big golfer or a tennis player, I mean, say you're a realtor too, but it is important. When I started training earlier on and a couple of years ago, someone said, well, why does tennis have to do with anything? I said, because it's who you are, and you're going to resonate with all these people who play tennis. So just, you don't get a lot of room to say much, you get so many words, but, make sure your contact, you're a realtor, and something else, about yourself. So the first step is just going on. If all you did today was had a profile and a photo and your contact on all of those things, and then I'll come back and I'll tell you how to do more.
All right, cool. Each one of these is a show. All right, we got to do this in the speed round, Debbie.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
We got like 5 slides in 3 minutes. So buckle your seatbelts, everybody. Print. Tell me how you use print. Do you use print? Yes,
print is important. You cannot skip any corners. You have to do it all. This happened to be when we changed the time, so we made sure it's at open Sunday 12 to 2:30. Mm-hmm. When we do a just listed, when we do a pending, when we do a sold, you've got people out there looking to hire people, and they are looking in that newspaper.
Yep.
And you want to, bring the home that you have open to people's attention. So it's usually more than twice that we advertise one property, and sometimes I think I have a big one here where I advertise a lot of homes in one. But it's extremely important for our area. It's the Piedmont Post, and then it's the Contra Costa Times, which covers Piedmont and Montclair and all the other places. But
do you find you get more bang for your buck in what I'll call the local niche paper versus the bigger one, or do you always do both?
If it's Piedmont, always in the Piedmont Post,
right.
And in the Hills newspaper, I don't do quite as much.
Okay.
I mean, but it depends on your area. I should probably do more.
But most areas have a local niche.
Yes, so if you're in Alameda, you're doing the Alameda. And
totally off topic here, and I know I'm butchering our timeline, but whatever. We'll just run over. You guys can handle it, right? You have any idea what you spend per property, ballpark?
I don't. I don't think it's that. I mean, I don't. I have no idea. I mean, if we were to say, the brochures, they don't, people are resistant sometimes to ordering on print shop. I think when I do brochures, it's like $100 or something. Right. It's so cheap,
and photography is a couple $100.
Photography is $250. I mean, she's a good deal.
Print, you're probably spending
and then print
$250, $300.
Yeah.
Then you've got some postcards and some
and
other
then
things.
when you put some together, and then like this, I did a huge mailing. This is the front side of that quarterly market report. Isn't it pretty?
It is beautiful. Yes.
So that cost $600, but that was to over 600 people. I mean, it was a huge mailing, and that I only do 4 times a year, and that was probably my biggest ticket item. And then the tour factory, it's $43 a month, I think, but then all my listings continue to stay.
I think sometimes we get a little penny wise and pound foolish when it comes to our listings, and we start to try to overmanage expenses. There's very few businesses on the planet that operate with like a 3% expense, right?
Yep.
Most businesses have a pretty high expense to product ratio.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of real estate professionals that try to operate on these insane margins where they're keeping 93% of the revenue. And if you just think about it in basic business parliamentary, that's a little crazy. You should have some expenses that are associated with the listing, and you shouldn't be afraid of spending those dollars. It should be part of your standard operating procedure.
Exactly.
And
I don't see it. I don't see it as that. It's just for that listing, marketing that listing.
It's your overall brand.
It's your brand, and it's about the next listing, and it's the opportunity that you have to market something.
Yep.
I mean, if you don't have a listing, then you're probably doing no marketing.
Right.
When you could have marketed something, you had something to market. So if you have something, it doesn't matter even if it's sold or didn't sell, you had something to market and get yourself out there.
So push it.
You've got to do it. And don't look at it as just that listing.
Right. And don't be afraid to do the spend. You've got to have some marketing spend to get your name out there. All right. Last one. Generating new listings. How much business can you track from your marketing efforts on your listings? So what percentage of your transactions come from the marketing efforts? This is really segue right to what you were just talking about.
It's very difficult to say. It's all recognition. I think that's what people need to understand.
Well, let me ask you an
branding and marketing is people seeing someone will call me and said, someone told me to call you, and a month later, someone told me to call you, and then I saw your name on a bench. You know, it was many things that got them there, but if you're only in one place, it's not going to work. But it's image advertising. You have to be out there, or, you know, it's not going to, you know, all the things work together to come into play.
How often do you hear, anecdotally, just how often do you hear, what percentage of the time when you're on a listing presentation do you hear, oh, we saw your blank?
Yeah, well, I get people come to the open house. I saw.
I didn't mean that the way it sounded.
They'll come to my open house and they say, "Oh, I saw your post this morning on Facebook."
That's what I meant. Yeah,
yep,
that.
I get that all the time. Or someone called me the other day while I was moving my daughter out of Boulder, and she called me, and I'd have to find the paper I wrote her name on. Hopefully she'll call me back when she's ready. But she called me and she said, well, I know a lot of people, but I see you everywhere.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't think she's seen me personally everywhere, but she's probably seen my ads in the newspaper. She's probably seen that bench sign. She's probably, seen stuff that I'm doing in charity. So even though she has a lot of friends and people in Piedmont she knows and realtors, she's like, well, I see you everywhere, so I know who you are. And when I'm ready, I'm going to call you. But this is where my house is. And
Debbi, thank you so much. I'm always tired when you're
and today I'm really sick. I've been sick for a week.
Your energy level's awesome.
I was worried that I was going to be boring.
Far from it. Far from it.
Going to the doctor
tomorrow. Man. Are you? Oh, I'm sorry that you're sick. Debbi, thanks so much for your time and your energy, and for the giveaways as well.
Yes, I look forward to working with someone.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get you those lists of who the winners are.
And then I'll sign the book for whoever wins the book.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Great, thank you.
So now we've got our next guest, and this is Debbi Cetina. He's out of the Berkeley office. He works with Matt Cord over there. And Debbi is someone that is he's very tech-forward, tech-centric. I like that about him. And he also has a very good and interesting way of approaching and thinking about residential real estate. Debbi, I know I'm not supposed to ask these sort of questions, but how old are you?
I am 25.
25, good. And the reason that I bring that up is Debbi, to me, is an embodiment of where this industry is headed, right? He's pushing boundaries. He's thinking about real estate differently. Debbi, I'm going to talk about you like you're not here for a second, but Debbi's grown up with technology in a way that if you aren't 25, you don't understand. I have a 15-month-old daughter who can already slide and swipe the iPad and the iPhone, plays videos. She's 15 months old. She knows how to do all those things. So when my daughter's 25 and you're 50, she's going to be wearing you out, right?
Yes,
so prepare. But I can't think of someone better to really come and share with us how we can take technology and really use technology to I remember being in school and hearing technology. By the time I was 40, technology will have created a 25-hour work week because we'd be so efficient in those 25 hours. Now, that hasn't happened.
Yeah, that's not really the case.
No.
I think you can probably fit a 40-hour work week as far as how efficient you are with technology, but now you don't work the 40-hour work week, right? You're working 60 hours and 40 hours.
Well, and you're available all the time,
right?
Which is an interesting conundrum. Right. But let's kind of dive in and get real specific. How can we use tools to become a mobile agent, a mobile office? I mean, do I need a printer in my trunk? Like, how mobile is mobile? And
right, and I think this is the overall question we're trying to answer with this. So I think we'll probably have to skip this slide, go to the next one, just because I think that's kind of the wrap-up question.
Yeah, cool. All right. A tool, laptop, tablet, phone.
There's so many things you can go off of right now. How do you choose the right tool, right? I think people are just overwhelmed with new phones coming out every 6 months, whether it's the iPhone 5 or the 7 or whatever it's going to be.
And then when it does come out, like, there's always somebody you know who's telling you, don't get the iPhone, that's dumb, you should get the whatever, and
Right, and I'm one of those guys.
Yeah, okay, cool, right, thanks.
Everyone's got their
preferences
on what's better, what works for them, but it really is what works for you, right? And also what form factor. I mean, Samsung right now has a tablet in every which size, right? Their phones start at 3 inches.
Is form factor like a fancy way of saying
laptop,
size?
tablet.
Got it, okay.
phone and form factor as far as what size it is. So there's the portable tablets, which are the 6, 7, 8-inch ones, and then there's the full size 10-inch like the iPad that we can go up, and those are all. Like I said, how do you choose the right ones?
Yes.
Right. I mean, it just really depends on what you want out of that tablet or out of that phone or out of that laptop. What you're really looking for.
And look, I'm someone who is not I'm not really I'm not the first guy to buy the newest piece of technology. But I do like technology a lot, and I think you have to be, and you tell me if I'm off on this, but I try to I'm going to make a commitment to try it for 90 days. And if at the end of 90 days it's sucking, quote unquote, it's a very technical term, I learned it in business school, then I might sell it, give it to a friend, give it away, and try something different. But you really don't know until you try to immerse it into your life, right?
That's true. It's true. And I think 90 days is being very generous.
Yeah, maybe too long, right? You'll know in
most people know in
3.
Yeah, exactly. Most people know within the first week whether they like what they're working with or not.
Like I tried to use an iPad when they first came out, right? They were sexy, it was hot, everybody had to have one, blah blah blah, right? So I went out and got an iPad. I thought this is going to be awesome. It's going to super work. It's going to be great. And I found, because I'm a very fast typer, I can type really really fast, and so I got super frustrated trying to use the iPad.
It mitigates because you don't have the physical keyboard.
Correct.
Right. And there's ways around that.
Yeah, and I even tried the dock thing, but then I got big, giant man hands, and so the keyboards were super small.
I don't have that problem.
Yeah, well, all right. So for me, like, any piece of technology that I'm really going to use on a consistent basis, I've learned over time, has to have a full-size keyboard.
Sure.
And if it doesn't have a full-size keyboard,
it's not going to work.
It's not going to work for me.
And that's, I mean, I think that's a lot of people's, first, I don't know, issue.
Yeah.
That they don't have that physical keyboard. I still have friends that get the slide-out phone. People my age. Yeah. They're like, I just need that keyboard. And I think eventually that tactile keyboard is going to go away.
So long as the speed comes with the screen-based, right?
Right. And like I said, going back to, how do you choose the right tool? Laptop, tablet, phone. The laptop's going to be your workhorse, right?
Yeah,
that's going to be when you need to do that real work, when you need to sit down, that's going to be the thing you go to, right? Because it just has everything there. Your phone's your sidekick, right? It's always in your pocket.
It's your buddy.
It's there. I mean,
my phone is my bestie.
It is. It knows everything about you. Probably stuff it doesn't want to know about you. But it does. And, 91% of everyone, of phone users, have the phone on them 24/7.
Right.
So when they go to bed, it's within arm's reach, right? That can be dangerous in a way where, like I said, people expect you to be there all the time. But that's kind of where we're going, and if you're not kind of catching up, of course you can set your boundaries, but you're going to, alienate some people that really want you there. And of course you do have to have your boundaries because, you are a person and you do need to
have a life and
most people do.
Right. So really down to this tool thing, give me your recommendations on, I'm thinking about buying a new piece of technology. How do, who do I read? Do I research? Do I talk to people? Do I buy it and try it for 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months? Like, give me how you would process a new piece of hardware.
So I typically use a couple main sources for my reviews. CNET.
Yep. That's a good one.
There's PC Mag, a couple different things. Great app called Pulse.
Okay.
And that you can aggregate all these sources of just, whether it's the New York Times, just all together, right? But I have an electronics page on it that does have, CNET, PC Mag, all those.
It's an aggregator, basically, of the reviews.
Right, right. But on the recommendations, like I said, it's going to vary from person to person. Phone-wise, kind of the 3 best phones you got out there today are, the iPhone 5. If you're into Macs, Apples, iOS. If you're not, then you're looking at Android. For the most part, you're looking at the Galaxy S4, the Note that's coming out, the HTC One. And then if you're Windows 8, then you're by yourself.
Right. Although
believe me, I'm rooting for Windows 8. I'm waiting for them to come out with a really spec-driven phone that can compete with the iPhone 5. And they actually do have some of the stuff that can compete with the iPhone 5, but more on the Galaxy S4, right?
Yeah.
Something with that robustness there.
That fullness. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Next question. So mobile printer, hotspots. Let me ask you this, Pui.
Sure.
1 to 10, 10 being literally you don't need a real estate office for anything. 1 being you have a physical office and you drive there and you park and that's where you work for 8 hours a day. You are what?
Now? Well, now that I'm a little bit
before your current role, Davey's
role.
helping in leadership in the Berkeley office, so he better be driving there every day.
Right,
but before that,
yeah.
As an agent, you were 1 to 10, 10 being the most mobile, 1 being the least. You were a
9.
9. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I was never in the office.
Never in the office, writing offers at Starbucks.
Nope, I'd show up to print.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I would do, or I would show up to have meetings,
or a big 200-page scan or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I was never really there as a workplace.
Yeah.
I used it as, like I said, as a home base when I needed someone to meet with, but it didn't offer really any value added, right? And I think that's that's hard to swallow. No. Being that real estate is completely. And of course you go to meet with the agents and there's some camaraderie
culture
there. But as far as actually doing real estate, you can do it from your car.
Look, there have been many times where I found myself in between 2 offices and I'm pulling over at a Starbucks because there's something I've got to look at. There's something I've got to get to. I know I can get free Wi-Fi. I grab a cup of coffee. I can get 40 minutes of productivity.
Do it all the time.
Yeah. So, I think we're at a crossroads right now with what I'll call physical space and residential real estate. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out because there is still a need for that human connectivity. Of
course.
There is still a need for clients to have a space to go to. There is still a need for a culture of an office and a culture of a company. And how do you balance all that with the mobile nature of where we're headed? So I think that'll be an interesting interplay.
And you're right. You do still need that. However, there's no longer the, hey, I'll call you when I'm back to the office.
Correct.
That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, or hey, let me get to the office. I'll look that up.
Look it up for you, right?
Yeah.
You can't waste those 15, 20, 30 minutes doing that, because the house is gone. By that time, right? Things move so quickly that just doesn't exist anymore. You pull over to the side of the road, and this is where the mobile printers, mobile hotspots come into place, right? Yes. So with your phones, tablets, laptops, all of them have connectivity already, but the majority of laptops don't.
Right.
So if you really do need to look something up that your phone can't do, or if you need to write up an offer that your phone may not be able to do, and we'll get into that later because there's DocuSign and WinForms for phone, but a lot of times you just need your laptop.
Yeah.
And that's where the mobile hotspot comes in, right? You're able to get internet anywhere.
Yeah.
I used to have this little, picnic basket for my open houses, my care kit, my emergency kit, and it did include a mobile printer.
Yeah.
I literally would take, and these things are maybe a foot wide by 6 inches deep, weighs, 5 pounds, but you throw it in a bag, and people would ask me, hey, are there any similar houses around? Not mine, just similar houses. Yep. I'd say yes.
Right.
Of course, you could send out the email, but when you could physically print out the sheets for them, it's like they had never seen that before.
Yeah.
It was just, it baffled them.
Okay. Cool. What about mobile advertising? Do you do tell me about your sort of Davey's opinion on mobile advertising.
Mobile advertising is interesting. I guess it depends on how you advertise in general.
Yeah.
If you're the Facebook user, if you're on Pinterest, that's all mobile, right? People can have access to you right away. For me, and mobile exposure, the majority of site visits are now on tablet or phone, right?
Yeah.
So it's how do you make your content mobile friendly?
Yeah.
There's all these different apps you can install onto your website if you have a personal website. And I know our BHG Home personal websites do have that, but maybe you're looking for your own personal one, right?
Yes.
Maybe you have your own design, your own sites. It's very, very important to have it to be,
mobile centric.
Mobile centric, right?
Yeah.
Be able, the new thing is responsive design.
Honestly, I really think this whole concept of mobile versus not mobile, it either already doesn't exist or it won't shortly,
right?
Because it's really everything is starting to orient and design mobile first,
correct,
and everything else second,
right?
Because as Davey mentioned, so many of the searches. This is the reason Facebook's sort of had some fits and starts with their IPO and with their stock price, is because they haven't translated as well to mobile as they have on sort of desktop, laptop. So,
right. And then you get sites like Instagram, which started off as purely mobile, right? Many people were angry that they couldn't go online on their laptop and find the site.
Yeah.
Now they do have that after Facebook got
but it's easier to go backwards. It's easier to go from mobile to online than the other way around.
Correct.
Yeah. So I think 3 years from now, no one's going to be delineating between mobile and not mobile. No. It'll just be mobile will be the way you do it, and it'll cross-populate.
Right.
Yeah.
Even now, you sit in front of the computer, your TV, you're on your tablet.
Correct.
That's considered mobile.
Right.
Even though you're at your house, it's a mobile device.
Right. All right. Last one. What are some productivity apps that you use personally that maybe sync between home, office, personal? I think sometimes this technology deluge can create almost technology ADHD, right?
Right.
Like, how do I use technology to truly simplify, not to clutter, not to create more chaos? So do you have apps that you use that for? Do you have...
I do.
Okay. Give us the top couple and kind of why.
Sure. So I'm going to start off with the Google-centric apps because, we do run on Google now.
Yep.
Chrome, if you're using Chrome on your computer, that's great because it aggregates all the stuff you look at on your, desktop or whatever to your mobile devices. So your searches are all saved there. If you were, just left your desktop and said, hey, what did I look for? What was that address? It's there.
Okay.
Same thing with maps and calendars, right? With the maps, if you did some searches on your computer, it's going to show up on your phone or tablet.
Got it.
So that's a great one. Setting up buyers' tours, say saving them as a map, your personal map. And you can pull it up and get GPS on your tablet or your phone.
For wherever you are. Yeah. So set that one up again. So you'll go on to Google. You'll set up a buyer tour.
On Google Maps.
On Google Maps.
Yep.
And because we're a Google platform, you could go and pull that up from your phone while you're out showing property, and you have the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5.
Exactly. And then that's what they're doing with the Gmail address. But now that we're Google, just thought I'd throw it out there.
Very cool.
That was the most effective tool I probably used when I was
showing property. Yeah. Very cool. Okay.
Then there's, when you start getting into out of Google products, one that's great to track conversations per text message.
What is it?
It's called Backup to Gmail.
Okay.
And what this does is it saves all the text messages you've ever sent, and it sends it into a folder into your Gmail account.
Very cool.
So if people are worried about, I sent a text message, there's no record of it. Now there is.
Got it.
Other things such as, since your phone is with you all the time, and everyone loses their phone at some point in their life, small apps that are not real estate centered, but like Avast or Where's My Droid.
Okay.
There's Where's My iPhone. If you lose it, it'll find it. Going more into, I guess, the number, do you know what the number one used app in any mobile device is?
I'm going to guess Facebook, but I don't know.
See, and this is a trick question. It's messaging. So the text messaging, no one sees it as an app, but it is. That's the number one used app.
Yeah.
If you get foreign clients that don't have texting, because they have a foreign plan, then you can get other apps like Hangouts, WhatsApp, Viber, Quick.
Okay.
And these will all are text over internet protocol, right? So they send free text messages.
Got it.
And if you need to send that quick text versus the phone call because they are, it's a foreign-based plan, then hey, you got free text messaging.
Cool.
And like I said, obviously that there's a million other things I can tell you.
Now, how do you? This will be the last one. How do you? Again, there's so many apps. There's so many things you could use. Do you download it and try to implement it into your business for a day, a week, a month, a year? Like, how do you?
That's what I typically do. Yeah, I typically, you see the reviews. For every one type of app, there's 20 of the same thing, right? Who can do it better? Who can do it faster? Who's more robust? You just download it. Yeah. It takes up little to no space on your phone. Some take up actually a lot of space, but that's the only way you can really get into it and say what works for you. Because what apps work for me may not be the same apps that work for you.
Good. One quick question from the audience. What do you use to back up your Gmail itself? I believe we do that.
I mean, it's on cloud storage.
Yeah, as a company, we cloud host it, and so everything that's on there is stored offsite.
So I don't do anything.
You don't do anything. You just
but I do have Outlook. I mean, I do use Outlook, and that does create a folder on your laptop or desktop.
Yep. Okay. Debbi, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you
Thanks for having me.
Bringing that young, tech-centric, forward-looking way to process technology, because I think that's what it's really all about.
And that's where we're headed.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thanks so much.